Hello, 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 everybody. I am your baby boomer Kitty Lane from the Peninsula in Virginia, back with another Create and Relate. Welcome in. I am really, really happy to be here today. I'm happy to see you all today. Um, it's a day, y'all. I got up really gung ho this morning, and I was all prepared to get my day going. And in looking, I'm trying to remember to be grateful for the little accomplishments. I completely overwhelmed myself. I did. Uh, to the point that I was feeling a little bit of anxiety. Been struggling with anxiety all this week. Yeah, you got to see what I did. Now, with that being said, I got up this morning and I said, I've got too many of these totes sitting around here with a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a whole lot of this and not enough of that. I need to get this together. I need to get this together. My focus at one point was to get rid of the yarn that I had by the end of the year. But acquisitions kept happening and I am not discounting those. I'm grateful for them because they've allowed me to do some projects that happen to come up, and I'm grateful. One positive thing that has happened when I went to the doctor yesterday, my gift bag was depleted. So there are more gifts on the list. I did not give myself a time limit for the gifts, which is a good thing because right now I would feel completely under pressure. But I only feel a little under pressure. I feel like I'm trapped under a mid-size vehicle's rear tire. And yeah, but it could be worse. It could be an SUV. It could be a pickup truck, a truck. It could be a train. But I don't feel those pressures. I do, however, feel pressure. You'll hear my voice fluctuating. Like I said, I've been dealing with anxiety this week. And when it starts getting really high, I feel like my air supply is being cut off. So I have to stop. And so when you see that happening, please give me grace. Okay, so today is a day that I have not checked the subscriber count or the viewing hours. I'm grateful for what I have. I'm grateful for all of you who are here. The only thing I ask is that you please make sure you leave your thummies, share the videos, comment, subscribe, hit the bells with the dimples. Okay, so sips. Slight change in the sips. This is 20 ounces of espresso from Great Value and only 10 ounces of International Delight Caramel Macchiato. I did do my pinch of salt and my drip of vanilla. So it's not quite as sweet as it has been, being that the creamer provides the sweetness, but it's still tasty. Um, Health checkup, I told you where I am. Weight went up a little bit, but it still hasn't gotten to 320. I'm at 318. Well, 317.8, 318. So I'm still happy about that. Um, this morning do my, I did my, I ate. Y'all, I'm struggling today. The OCD really kicked in this morning. It did. It's not. variable, but I don't know how to say it. Um, it's a condition that's there. How I deal with it is where the variability comes in. Variability, you know what I'm saying? Where the shift comes in. This morning I got up and I was overwhelmed by the number of the little cloth totes that I have. I was completely overwhelmed by these. So my mission for today was to cut out two of them. Well, guys, in me starting to cut out two of them, I actually emptied five onto my bed. Okay, I emptied five onto my bed, which gave me this monstrosity that's on my bed. And when I stopped and realized what I was doing, hello, baby, how are you? Nice to see you. Welcome in. But when I saw what I had created, I almost cried. I almost cried real tears. I have like my pile of makes over here, which I'm really proud of. Ends all weaved in and everything. And then I've got this huge pile of whips. And there are a couple more whips over here and one over there. A few of those whips are going to be frogged. I know that now because I've completely lost interest in them. The idea of them is still there. It's still written down, and maybe one day in the future it'll happen. But things like the Ten of Diamonds, it's not happening. I and maybe it's the colors that I chose because I was trying to figure it out. But now that I have the pattern down, maybe I need to go with my colors. Um, and then one of the whips has stepped up in priorities because it's going to be needed like really soon. And that was the little lap blanket that I was making for my daughter. Pretty soon she'll be undergoing a treatment that will require um, a lot more comfort. And then there's the shawl, I mean, the poncho that I'm doing the tutorial for. And I'm still wrecking my brain because the pattern is beautiful as it is with the yarn that's being used, but I want to show you all how to make it in four worsted weight as well. And I don't want any of the features compromised in going down in size. I want it to be all inclusive. So I wanted to show you the chunky poncho, but do the tutorial with the worsted weight. Oh, my head. So then I have my complete skeins of yarn, my wound cakes purchased and those that I did, and my full balls. I have a bucket or a tote of cotton and smaller fibers, and I have the baby Esther blanket down at the bottom. Baby Esther's been getting a lot of attention. Now, I'm proud of myself because of the accomplishments that I made last night. I started on a shawl. I can't remember the name of it. I want to say it's Tentil or Tendril. It's something along those lines, but I'll look it up and get that information to you. But I'm really happy with the progress that I made on it. I started it night before last in a four worsted weight, and then I went down to a DK weight yesterday, and it's so pretty. But the problem is, when I was piling my whips, they ended up on the bottom. I can't hear those calls coming in. But yes, they wound it up on the bottom. And that kind of perturbed me. That was the first thing that set all of this in motion. So when I stopped and I took a deep, when I blah 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 blah. When I stopped and I took a deep breath and I realized the tears were welling up, I was like, no, we have to tackle this right away. So I did 4 cakes already today. It did take the pile down a lot. I'm proud as I look over here and I see how much of the pile is gone. Um, I some of them are the same color, some of them are mixed colors, and I have yarn on and spinning. And this one is going to be a variety of greens, just like this one was, where I went from light out to dark. And this one is picking up with the color that's on the outside. We're going with this green down to that green and ending up in this green. I'm thinking about splitting it up maybe because I also have this green and I don't want it to just, I don't want it sitting out there by itself saying, hey, what about me? So that has been the focus of today. Oh, I do. I do. I do. Do I do? Want to share with you the Taco Tuesday challenges in case you're interested. Um, so when one spun the wheel, four came up, and that was two people's choice and two draws from the jar. So, of course, you have the season long challenge, which is pick a whip, any whip, and complete it by the next Taco Tuesday. If you don't have any whips, start one. Okay. Now, from the people's choice, we got a turkey make. Now, you can either do an amigurumi or an applique or, anything representing a turkey. I have some ideas in mind. I just don't know yet where I'm going with it, but they're up here. The second People's Choice challenge was a hat for a pet. My pet is about 3 inches long with a head about that little closed in triangle there. Yeah, with a head about that big. I don't have thread. I cannot make Sonic a hat. Sonic is a box turtle. So what I decided, which is also buried over there, I sleep with a kitty cat neck pillow, which I call Bitty Kitty, and my teddy bear changes names. Right now he's Dandy Manny. Um, but my teddy bear is kind of blah 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 blah, blah flippy floppy. He was a gift sent to me from Iraq when my son was deployed in Iraq, and he sent me the teddy bear, a beautiful card, and a box of chocolates. And I've held on to that bear ever since. And I cannot bring myself to name that bear after my son because people lose teddy bears. They throw them away, they give them away, all that good stuff. And it's not like naming a bear after someone who has passed or someone who was in your life. Um, and I don't want to, call my son, hey, Melvin, and then look at my bear and say, Melvin. Plus, it's kind of creepy to be sleeping with your son. You know what I'm saying? Hi, sis. Oh, I love you. I'm kind of rambling today. I am. I sent myself into a tizzy, sis. I did. When you go back and look at the replay, you'll see exactly what I did. You will see exactly what I did. I did it to me. There is a reason behind it, but and you know, sis. But I'm just saying, there's a reason I threw myself into this tizzy today, and I've already been fussed at about it. My daughter came in, and she's like, "Look, I understand, and it all makes sense, but lady, you're gonna have to stop doing it." So my retort to her was, "I have been a mother for 43 years. I am a mother, and I will always be a mother." Yes, what you heard me saying about my son is that one of the challenges for this week in Taco Tuesday is to make a pet hat or a hat for your pet. And I don't have any pets. So I was talking about Itty Bitty and Dandy Manny, and how Dandy Manny got his name. Manny is always in the name. And one of the reasons for that, like I said, the teddy bear was a gift from my son, but I was not too long ago in a relationship that was kind of weird. It was happy and good, don't get me wrong, and we parted on good terms, but it was weird nonetheless. And I kind of named the bear after him, I would say, or the fake name he gave me in the beginning. Yeah. So we kind of leave that there. Y'all, that's another story. All to my life is a book. And I just might do that, sis. I might do that. But she said make one for Hipon. I just might do that. Hipon is so adorable. So adorable, guys. I wish I could have puppies. I do. I love dogs. I do. I am an absolute avid dog lover, but I'm allergic. And I'm also allergic to cats. I'm allergic to anything with fur. I'm allergic to a lot of things, a whole lot of things. So, fortunately, my yarn doesn't bother me except when the fibers get stuck behind the lens of my eye and I see little floating fibers all day. But that's the part of it. I told you my life is a book. My life is a book. So, on to challenge number 3, which was a jar pick, and that was to make a holiday stocking. And the last challenge was to make a holiday ornament. And all of those are absolutely wonderful, but I think I will only be participating in one challenge this week, and that is to complete a whip. Pick a whip, any whip, and complete it. Because after winding, and yes, you hear the ball winder going in the background, but after winding these cakes, my focus is going to be to work that whip pile down. Like I said, I'm looking at one right now that's going to be frogged, and that's the 10 of diamonds. Not that I'm abandoning the idea, it's just not on my list of priorities right now. And the colors are gross. The colors are just completely freaking me out. They are. Oh my God. I know why I did it the way I did it. I did it because I wanted to create the pattern and see how it worked. If you all are creators, you know that when you're doing something like that, you have to make sure your counts are right. You have to make sure that the design is fluid or fluent or flows nicely, however you want to say it. You have to make sure all these things are in place, and that you're not putting 100 stitches on one. If you're doing back and forth, that you're not putting 100 stitches on one row and 115 on the next row, and because you don't want your edges to come up wonky. You want to have edges that are workable in case you decide to put a border on it. So there's a lot that goes into it. And what I did was decided to use my scraps to create this beautiful thing that I had in mind. And it was working. It's working. It works. But it's excuse me. It's a border. It's a border within a border within a border within a border. First of all. So I've given myself a lot of borders because the centerpiece is not going to be large enough to substantiate the size of the blanket throw, whatever you want to call it. This is more like a throw, more like a lap gown. And where I did half diamonds along the side here to make the first border so that I could open up the diamond and even have diamonds at the bottom. In my mind, I've decided I wanted no diamonds. But when I made that decision, I was like, way here, and all of the bottom had been done and part of the sides. And I'm like, there's so much I want to change about this, but I'll keep going just to see where it goes. And as you can see, I was frogging something else to work with this. So as I got to this point, I stopped and I held it up and I looked at it and I'm like, oh my God, this, it's an eyesore. It is so not attractive. It really isn't. And I can't see myself continuing to put myself through this. So, what I'm going to do, oh, that's not bad looking at it on TV. You know, I have me on TV too, in case messages come in, I can see the messages. So, looking at it on TV, it's not, it's a lot clearer, I guess. I don't know. I mean, my eyes should be clearer than the TV, right? Oh boy. But nope, I'm frogging it. So this will be wound into a few cakes because I have to, I don't know which way I'm going with it, but I do know that it's going to be frogged. So I am not frogging this, but I'm still here with the forever scarf. And we are at the point where the scarf can be used, but I don't know how to cast off. I know that there are tutorials that I can watch. But I have a pile of whips. And in that pile, I think this is the only one that's going to be frogged, honestly. I have my purple sweater that I am not going to stand in front of the firing squad by frogging that. And Joan would be the firer. Y'all, she would peel my toenails off if I took that blanket apart. I mean, if I took that sweater apart. And it's so close to being done that there's no way, no way. Y'all, I got the sleeves done. I got the sleeves done. All I have to do is add to the lapel. I am going to add a little bit to the bottom. It's not quite as long as I want it. So y'all see Joan sounded off. She said she sure would. I told y'all, I'm telling you, I speak truth. Thank you so much, BB. Thank you. Um, this is a gift to me. It's a me thing. I said that I wanted to do it and I wanted it in all purple. So I picked all the purples I had and went to work. Um, my goal is to have it finished by Christmas. This is going to be my Christmas gift to myself. So I have not put everything into it. I crochet pretty fast, and with the little bit that's left to do, I know that I'll get it done by then. There is another project that I want finished by my birthday, which comes before Christmas, like in another week and a half. And that's my Just For Me cardigan, but it's way up there in the front part of the house. And for all practical purposes, it's done. I have one little piece to connect where I did the facing down the front, and I needed to connect to the ribbing at the bottom. So it's like a little corner section. I know I'll finish it. That's not a problem. Believe me, in all of my frustration, anxiety, worry, and flashbacks and all that good stuff, those two pieces have nothing to do with it. This, however, is frustrating the daylights out of me because I don't understand. First of all, I'm not a knitter, but I picked up so easily, was able to find my mistakes. I told my daughter, I want to make this, and then I want to, as I'm frogging it, to make it up again with no mistakes. And she said, no, she wants it just like it is. So she will have it just like it is. I will not deny her that. This is my baby girl that doesn't ask for anything. So when she says that that's how she wants it, that's how she's going to get it. My frustration is I don't know how to cast off. I don't know how to cast off, and for some reason, I keep sticking my hook in fiber and keep starting stuff. And I'm frustrating. No one else is frustrated. Y'all, let me show you what else I did. So you can see how much I frustrate me. This is a bag full of tumbleweeds. These are tumbleweeds for Boggy Creek. And I pulled it out in case you don't know what tumbleweeds are. They're little necklaces that the kids wear. And when they do something good for someone, you go up and you take one of their strings and you tie it onto your necklace. So the goal is to get rid of your tumbleweed. It's like a couple of goals. First of all, it's to be good and do good to others. And I love the concept. I think that's so amazing. But the ultimate thing is to get rid of your tumbleweed, and to collect as many strings as possible. So I like that idea. I really like that. But I only made those so far. They're really easy to make, guys. They're really easy. It's just like making fringes and tassels. It's so easy. So we are going to frog this. So this needs to go up here. Okay. This is the blanket that has to move up in priority. Like I said, my daughter is going to be undergoing treatment soon. No, she does not have cancer. Um, but the treatment is very harsh that she's going to be undergoing. And it's a 2 year long thing. And I asked her specifically what part of her gets cold the most. And she told me her legs. She's going to always want to keep her feet and legs covered. So I want to make sure she has it, but she doesn't need anything heavy because when she gets hot, she does a lot of flipping off, flipping off. So it's very flimsy. It's done in the moss stitch. I used the 8.0 hook, my L, so that I could keep it airy and light, but it's enough that the air from the vent doesn't make her cold, doesn't blow directly on her, make her cold. So, like I said, yeah, this is moving up in priority. When you see me turn around and put stuff, I keep stuff close to my bed so I can reach it. For me project. I haven't visited this in a little while. Um, I'm purposely waiting on this, and it's not because the Cowboys haven't done anything. Let me read this. I'm sorry. As someone that learned how to crochet by watching videos on YouTube, start a small project to practice the cast off instead of doing it on your scarf. That way you don't mess. Mm. I want to show you something, BB. And I'm saying it all wrong. This is my very first knitted piece. As you can see, I cast off. I just don't remember what the dingleberries I did. I don't. I and not being a knitter, I can't even look at this and tell you what I did. I can't. This I had started making a sweater in like baby blue and gray, and this was going to be a pocket to that sweater. Of course, I frogged that sweater. That's why Joan will absolutely hang me out to dry if I frog either one of my two sweaters now. But this was going to be a pocket, and this was perfect for that pocket. It was just going to have one pocket, and this was it. Mama C from Miss C's Cottage taught us how to do this. It was a washcloth, but of course, I used acrylic. I didn't use cotton. And I loved it, and it was so easy to do. But I cast off while I was watching her, and I can't find that particular video. And I don't know if my brain will allow me to really, really learn it from someone else. I'm just I'm being a doodle wad right now. That's what I'm being. It was a. I'm not going to say it's not a good combination. Um, Baby blue and gray, yes, it is a good combination until you start getting bored with it. And until you and I, being a tapestry crocheter, use small stitches. I do. I'm putting this blanket together using my number 10 or the 10.0, which is the letter N hook. And I'm using half double crochet. My youngest daughter, Bibi, says she loves blue. I do get bored easily. That's the Sagittarius trait in me that I cannot deny. I cannot deny that at all. Um, I think I've had two husbands and I only had one husband who understood about the boredom thing, and that's because he himself was Sagittarius. My youngest daughter is Sagittarius, so yes, two Sagittarians created a Sagittarian. And I'm in the middle in birthdays. He's November 26th. I'm December 2nd, and my baby girl is December 14th. That blanket is so cozy. First of all, I don't like heat until recently. I don't know if I'm going through another change or what it is, but I went a very long period. At one point, I had to have an emergency hysterectomy back in 95. So I went through menopause, prolonged menopause for a while. I never experienced perimenopause, but I went through the menopause for years. And guys, I mean, for years, I think I'm switching over to postmenopause now because I get cold. I'm sitting here now. This is normal wear for me in the house. At night, I use, can't get to it, a big beach towel as my blanket. It's just enough to cover from here down to my ankles. My feet have to be out. My feet have to be out. Well, I've gotten to the point here lately, I have to put socks on. During the middle of the night where I usually kick the covers off, I'm not doing that quite so much. just it's it's not happening. It's not happening. And like I said, right now, even I'm a little bit chilly. But I can't turn the fan off. I have a fan on. I have a fan on. Don't tell me that, sis. Another part of the reason I get cold is because I have lost a total of 21 pounds. So that extra padding is not there. That extra comfort layer is not there. Guys, 21 pounds. Ah. And what do you mean by older people? What, what, what do you mean by older people? I'm not old. I am not old. I'm a very young 61, about to be 62. Guys, when I say the number, I'm like, I get mortified sometimes. I'm like, when did this happen? Oh my goodness. I didn't know. I was so excited to turn 60. And then I was like, uh, turn back the clock, please. But I have absolutely beautiful kids. My kids tell me all the time. They finally took it up to 39, but for years they said, Mama, you don't look a day over 36. So over the course of the past 2 years, I have uh, grown up a few years. I don't look older than 39 to them now. So they've given me that. I'm grateful. Oh boy, my babies. I know y'all are probably looking at me like, "What's it's already in a cake? What are you doing?" I got too many little bitty cakes. Y'all, I got a bunch of little cakes like this. And some are the same color. I want to put them together in one. I want to put them together in one. I know why I caked them up small like that. And it's because when I'm working on projects, I go, I don't travel, but I go a lot. And y'all, even when I go next door to Walmart, sometimes when I'm sitting in the checkout line, which I usually go in the 15 or less self checkout line, I will sit there and crochet. And I don't want something big and bulky. I don't want a whole skein. I don't even want this size cake. So why are you putting me in that size cakes today, Kitty? Because I'm ready to put them up. I'm tired of all this stuff being on my bed, around my bed. I have things around my bed so I can reach them easily, but the bookcase is right there. And if I want to get my mobility back, I need to stop making everything so accessible. So I'm going to have to get my chunky monkey up and walk over those 3 or 4 steps and get the cakes. And then if I'm working on a project, then I can ball up what I need, wound up what I need for that project and still carry the little cakes around. But I don't need to have, huh, I feel like the Cruella of yarn. Actually, sis, it did. It motivated me to make a difference. It actually motivated me to make a difference because I looked at what I had and I was like, oh, It's getting smaller. I'm actually using that yarn. Okay, well then I can start making cakes and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, the first shipment of yarn came in, and I was like, okay, well, it kind of looks pretty sitting there. And when I need this, it's over there. It's already in a skein. If it's something that I'm working on at home, I can keep it in the skein until it gets kind of small or flimsy. Like this, this is a little chaotic to me. So it's going to be wound into a cake. This is a bigger version, but I've used a little more than a third of it. So this is going to be caked up. It'll probably be two cakes, but all in all, it's going to be caked up. But in me purchasing that big box, that big pretty box you see back there, well, it was gifted to me actually. And then the most recent purchase that I got, that I did get from the baby Esther blanket that I'm working on, I'm like, these are things that I don't want to sleep with this box anymore. I don't. So I had to get control of these. I call them divot boxes sometimes. I had to get control of these, little cubbies so that I could make the difference that I needed to make. Yeah, my mental was screaming. And for a long time I wasn't paying attention. And I had to stop and pay attention. I make cakes as well, and it helps get my yarn under control. Exactly. Exactly. Instead of having, a little ball here, a little piece there. I've got I've got more of these than I have cakes. Taking something apart and balling it up in little balls, and these are not as maintainable as the cakes. They roll everywhere. And yeah, the little yarn bowls that I make help. They do. They do. Like that one right there, but it's designed for the mandala cake. I made this expressly for my mandala cakes. I have not purchased, this is the last one that I purchased. And I have not purchased one in a while, but I know in the future I will be getting them because I love working with these. I absolutely love working with these. And I have ideas in mind for these. And so I needed something to work from. And I won't be working with more than one cake at a time. And if I am, then I will make another one of these to support that. I will. But in the meantime, in between time, I needed to get all of this caked up so that it could look like the perimeter. We could have the finished makes, the skeins, the wound cakes, and the balls. And when it comes to putting these things up, it makes much more sense to me, and I can get it in order. I know my makes. Once I get that shelf over there cleaned off, all of my makes are going to go over there. And when that gets full, then I'll start pulling from that and make me another gift bag. What do I mean by gift bag? Well, I got these huge Joanne bags, or you can get them from Aldi's or most places that you shop. You can get one of their cloth shopping bags. Michael's even has them. Dollar General has them. A whole lot of Target has them. So what I do is get one of those bags, preferably one of the larger ones. And as I get these ideas in my head and start creating things, when I finish them, I put them in that bag. And when I meet people who are exceptionally nice to me, I let them go through the bag and pick something. When I run into a homeless person, especially this time of year, because I do a lot of blankets. I do a lot of blankets. I do hats and scarves and gloves and mittens. I do those too. But I do a lot of blankets. Then I will stop and give them a blanket. Excuse me, I'm sorry. This is another whip. And as much as I don't like granny squares, The reason this one came to be is because I wanted to see if I could start a square using the foundation row technique. And I did that. Now, it looks pretty. It does. And the circle is not, it's not like huge, huge. I'm still working on it and I want to make it, I'm sorry, I want to make it more size inclusive so that it doesn't stand out, but it's a beautiful, centerpiece at the same time. So, and this is going to go into the gift bag. For at first, it's going to go on the shelf. The shelf dictates when the bag starts. I know that I'm going to use the bottom four for the bottom six, I'm sorry, for gifting, and the top two for my commissions, because generally when I finish a commission, I try to get it out as soon as possible. So you saw that one. This one is, I think this is a Nana June blessing blanket, if I'm not mistaken. This is a Nana June blessing blanket. The creator of that blanket is Juan, the yarn addict. And this is, I'm sorry, y'all. This is really a stash buster. I wanted to use up my stash yarn. So once I get it out to where I want it to be, of course, it's going to be gifted as well. Wow, y'all, I love talking to y'all. See that pile? I can see the head of my bed now. I was really upset. Oh my goodness. This one, another granny square. But I am running two strands together. Yeah, I'm running two strands together. And it's just a simple granny square. Another scrap buster. I think, I don't remember. I have to go back and look at the picture. Um, Another idea, tip, when you're working on your projects, when you first start them, make sure you get your ball band so that you know your colorway and what size fiber you're working on in case you run out. And make sure you put your hook there, take a picture of it. You want to at least start the first swatch, or create a swatch, or at least start out and try to make your stitch. Try to make your stitches as defined as possible so that you can look at that picture and see what your stitches were. You'll have a picture of your hook. You have a picture of your ball band, all right there together. Ooh, I'm sorry, but you'll have all of that right there together. Um, so essential, especially for people like me who have a million whips, and you're like, oh my god, did I use? I don't remember if I used, because right now my hook of choice is the 6.0J. That is my go-to. I grab it and I just start working. But when I'm working on my washcloths, which I am going to show you guys the washcloths, as of right now, I am 20 rows behind. But yeah, take a picture of those items, those three things together, your stitches, or if you want, write your stitches down, or if you have a pattern, then lay your hook on top of that pattern close to the materials box so that you have all the information that you need and you'll know what hook you're using. Like me, when I use patterns, very seldom do I use the hook size they recommend. I just I just don't. I was an H girl forever. And then I started running into projects that required a 5.5, which is an I. And I went through the I phase very quickly. That was a quick, fast, and in a hurry phase in my life. I have a lot of them. I have a lot of eye hooks, but I quickly graduated to the J and fell in love. Then I messed around and bought my first Susan Bates hook, which was an L. I didn't think anything else should exist but an L. But somehow I migrated back to the J, and J is where I am right now. But yeah, those pictures are really, really, really come in handy, and they help so much. Um, Got to tell you guys this before I forget. So my ball winder, if I look like I'm shaking, it's the table that I'm winding on. I do apologize. I don't want to make anybody dizzy or drunk. I'm sorry. But uh, my yarn winder attaches to this table. And once I get about midway my ball, the yarn winder starts slipping and sliding all over the table. And I get frustrated. And I say explicatives I should not be saying to yarn. I do. I want the yarn to behave. I want the yarn winder to behave. It just starts slipping and sliding all over the place. So today, just as I did with my phone, because I'm recording from my phone today, I took my tape and I glued my tape to the bottom of my ball winder. The reason I did that is because when I move it, the tape will go with it, and I didn't want it to just slide back and forth across the tape. But it's sticky enough that it stays stuck to the table, but it stays on the ball winder. So, and I don't move it very often anyway, so that was good. And as far as the phone is concerned, I have it propped up on a yarn bowl that I crocheted, but it's sitting on top of my Chromebook. And I knew at any given moment with me working with this yarn that it was prone to slide off. And I didn't need that along with everything else that I've been feeling and going through today. I could see me sitting up here chasing this ball winder and crying. And I know y'all didn't want to see that. So I taped that too. So my tape has really been getting a lot of use today. Okay, so day before yesterday was the 18th, which means that doing our washcloth challenge, we should have at least 6 washcloths by day before yesterday. So definitely by today. And my dishcloths, washcloths, are 27 and 30 rows long, depending on the material that I'm using. Most of them are 30 rows, but when I'm using the larger cotton, the I think sugar and cream peaches. It's not sugar and cream. Is it peaches and cream? Whatever it is, the Walmart cotton. It's a little thicker than the Temu cotton. So I only did 27 rows on this, which meant that I had to do 9 rows a day instead of 10 rows a day. So we have one done. Then by the 6th, these are not in order by when I did them because this was the first one actually. So this one is 30 rows. That is 2 done. This one is 30 rows. That is 3 done. That's the 9th. Then by the 12th, get another one done. Then by the 15th, we had another one done. And by the 18th, we had another one done. So I am caught up, kind of, with my washcloths. By tomorrow, I have to have another one done. But we know that I'll get it done. I'm not stressing about that. That's not part of the stress that's going on. Okay, I need to put everything back in here like it was. Make it like it was. Okay. All right, and sit this back on top of my cubby of cotton. I feel good about that, guys. I got it done. I'm going to wind this little ball down, and I'm going to let y'all have y'all day. But in the meantime, I want to tell y'all how much I love you guys, how much I appreciate you being here. I really, really do. BB, I thank you so much. I have another cubby of cotton. I have two cubbies of cotton, and I don't turn down cotton at all because we use the crochet washcloths. Not only that, my kids run into a lot of people that are nice, and instead of coming to me asking me if they can get something out of the gift bag, they give away anywhere from 2 to 6 washcloths at a time. Yeah, and I finally figured it out. They'll come to me and they're like, "Grandma, can I use some ribbon?" And one of my grandchildren is very much the fashionista. So I'm assuming that this is for her doll babies. When her uncle and aunt came back in September, they bought her a design kit. So I'm assuming this is for the design kit. No, mm-mm, mm-mm. She loading up washcloths, giving them away. But nobody has complained. I told them, I said, you have to be careful. You don't want to offend anybody, you know. And my grandson, bless his heart, he's like, I just tell him the dishcloths. You can't offend anybody that way. I just tell him the dishcloths. I'm like, okay, smarty pants. I can call him that because he's just like his grandma. He looks like his grandma. He acts like his grandma. Yes. Most of the time when he's here, he's attached to his grandma. I have an issue with food, and I have a hiatal hernia, which causes me to process my food very slowly, and it hurts my stomach whenever I eat. I don't care how much. I don't care how little. It hurts. At the beginning of this video, I was in pain, and I usually lay down until the pain subsides. And when my grandson is here, I'm laying on my left side, so my right side is exposed. Um, I'll be talking to my daughter on the phone, and I'll be like, well, my tumor's back. That one that covers the right side of me? Yeah, it's back. That's my grandson. He be all over his grandma. Yes. And I wouldn't change it for anything. Well, I do change it for one thing. When baby girl comes back here and she decides she wants grandma time, he has to respect that. Because I have 2 grandbabies. And whereas she's older, she's a preteen, and she's becoming a little more independent now. He still has to respect the fact that she still has moments that she wants grandma time. So you got to deal with it. Oh boy. I am grateful for each and every one of you. I do thank you for being here. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Don't forget to hit your thummies and share the video. Share the video. I usually don't talk. I mention my uh, neurodivergency, but I don't really get into a lot of detail about it. It's not that I'm excusing it or acting like it doesn't exist. It does exist. It is very much a daily part of me. The sides of it, and one day I might open up and show you guys that I have moments that I'm talking to the many sides of me. You know, we'll have good discussions. Usually, it's about life, crocheting, and music. Usually in that order. But one day we'll go on that journey, and it's usually happening while I'm crocheting. Things that are very, that, like I said, I'm not ashamed of. Um, I just, somehow like to try to read the room. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. But I'm not going to hold you guys any further. I'm starting to get frustrated with my ball winder again. So I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to tell each and every one of you to always remember to be bold, be brave, be beautiful, and behave. Remember, Kitty Lane told you. Remember, Kitty Lane loves you. So until we see each other again on these YouTube streets, peace out, everybody.